All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. College football week number 3. We got a few plays coming your way in today's video. Last week, we go 3 and 2 plays over here on your screen. Ole Miss and Oregon cover for us. Had to sweat them out, but they cover for us. Wisconsin gets the L, but we did cash the under in that game. And then Alabama -7. I mean, that just did not look good from the jump. Texas, probably the story of the week, crushing Alabama. Really, Alabama not even seeming like they're treading water in that game. So bad pick there. But we'll take the 3 and 2 night. We went 3 and 1 or 3 and 2 week, 3 and 1 in week number 1, 3 and 2 in week number 2. And now that I say that, I really hope that the week numbers don't correlate to the amount of losses that we have, because the week numbers only go up. But nonetheless, guys, we do have 3 games that we're looking at today, and I got 3 picks coming your way. Before we do, I'm gonna ask you guys to smash that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. We're approaching 30,000 subscribers. 30,000 subscribers? What are we doing here? You guys are absolute psychos. And if you also want to check something out, make sure to check out Odds Jam, guys. If you haven't checked it out yet, you get 25% off if you use the code GUYBOSTON, and you can use the link in the pinned comment. You'll get 7 days free. So talk about double dipping there. 7 days free, and with the paid plan, if you choose to continue after 7 days, you get 25% off using that code. It's an absolute no-brainer. They have a plethora of tools over there. I encourage you guys just to go browse, use that link, and check out what OddsJam has to offer. Whether you're a parlay better, a plus EV better, a daily fantasy sports better, arbitrage bet, any type of better, or if you're just an average Joe, right? OddsJam has a tool to help you guys and girls like you and me. Well, I'm a guy, but helps us beat the books, all right? So make sure to go check out OddsJam. Again, promo code GUYBOSTON for 25% off your first month, and you can use that link to get 7 days free. So are we ready for game number 1? We are looking at Florida taking on Tennessee. Florida is the home team here. They're getting 6.5 points. The total is sitting at 58.5 right now. So Tennessee 2-0 on the year, beating UVA in week number 1, 49-13, and then beating Austin P 32-13 last week. Now Florida, we know they were like that kind of real initial opener to the season, right, against Utah, losing 24-11, but they bounced back last week, winning. That was McNeese State, right? My McNeese State, they beat them 49-7. And my pick in this spot is going to be taking a peek here, and I guess locking in, so it's not really taking a peek. Tennessee minus the 6.5 points. Now, a couple reasons for this one. One, I do think this Tennessee team is going to dominate the run game. So if they get the ball first, I think it's off to the races. I think a lot of similarities between how the Utes were able to run all over Florida, right? I think Tennessee's going to be able to do that. They certainly have the depth to do so. You know, couple running backs there that they can just interchange, kind of change up the pace, and just really run over this Florida defense that I don't really think is all that great. And I say that because a lot of people are hyping up this defense, but they're a really good pass defense, not a good run defense. So if Tennessee really wants to dominate and set the pace of this game, they do it on the ground. I think Florida's going to be playing catch up all game long. And yeah, I don't think they're going to have many possessions to do so. I see the ground game kind of dominating time of possession. So I really do think that this is a Tennessee spot. They are obviously the ranked team too coming into this. Florida taking that tough L against the Utes. I do think that that's going to impact them in terms of, any sort of top 25 or anything like that. But nonetheless, yes, tough place to play in the swamp, right? But I still think Tennessee is the better team, and I'm taking the team that I believe has a little bit more toughness to them and can dominate the ground game. So I'm going to look at Tennessee here plus 6.5. One thing that I also looked at, but really couldn't get myself to pull the trigger on here, would be the first half over. We've seen Tennessee scored a decent amount of points in the first half this season, also let up a decent amount, but that line was at 29.5. I really didn't love that altogether. So you have Florida, who is a decent first quarter team, Tennessee, who's been playing second quarters well. I figured, wow, what a match made in heaven, right? 29.5 seems like just a little bit too much, even the total being 58.5, right? So losing a couple points of value there. So ended on the final play of Tennessee minus 6.5, win by touchdown, and we are golden. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. And we are looking at West Virginia hosting Pitt here. And this is a game in which I don't know how to explain this. This is a game in which I'm more or just as much fading the team that I'm betting against as I am kind of riding with the team that I'm betting on. And the team that I'm betting on is Pitt here. We're looking at them either on the money line or catching the 1.5 points, determining on what I end up finally rolling with. So keep an eye on the pinned comment. We will kind of explain it in there, but plus 1.5 right now is going to be what we're looking at for Pittsburgh. I think that they have the better offense here. I really can't necessarily trust what West Virginia is going to do. I don't think, and I don't catch me wrong here, or get me wrong by saying I think Pittsburgh's going to dominate this game defensively. I don't think that they are a defensive juggernaut whatsoever, okay? I really don't think they're a defensive juggernaut. But West Virginia, like, what do they do well? Do they throw the ball well? No. Do they run the ball well? No. Do they convert? Do they have big play potential? Not really. Like, I don't see this team being able to beat a Pittsburgh team that has had some success, at least this year. You know, week number 1 going up against, what was it, Wofford? Putting up 45 points, and they played Cincinnati pretty tight. I think the quarterback there had 3 touchdown passes. They lose 27-21, but you have a West Virginia team that obviously gets dominated by Penn State. I feel like we all saw that coming from a mile away, right? They lose by 23 points, and then they play DeKent's, and they put up 54 points, right, to 17. And it's like, oh, well, now we're cooking. Even if you look at the completion ratings and whatnot of the quarterback there in that game, you're still looking at a 50% completion rating, give or take, right, for either quarterback that plays in a blowout game. So I don't necessarily look at this and say, okay, well, West Virginia has the pieces together, even though they put up a 56 piece now that I'm looking at it. That doesn't mean squat to me. So give me Pitt potentially catching the points here. I don't hate them on the money line. We've seen this line kind of drift towards Pittsburgh, so I could see them being favored by game time, which would kind of be unfortunate if we don't get this in right away. But keep an eye on the pinned comment to see what we end up rolling with. Right now, we're looking at Pitt plus 1.5. And before we do move into the next game, I want to talk to you guys about how we should format this, because right now, obviously, there's a million college football games every week. I'm looking at, okay, what games do I like? What could I see myself, sinking my teeth into? And then we do just that. And all I'm here to do is provide you guys my picks, right? I don't ask you guys to follow me blindly or anything like that. In fact, I tell you guys, fade me as a little wink, wink, nod, nod type joke. But I want to mix it up. I want to get you guys more involved. Maybe there's some way that we can vote on the game of the week or anything like that. So I guess moving forward, if you want to see a matchup next week or something like that, that you could see in the schedule that you're anticipating that we want to cover on the channel, go ahead and drop that in the comments. If we get enough comments, or if you see someone else comment the game, just like that comment. If we get enough comments, or I see some, notables in the comments, we'll cover that game regardless of if it's a huge spread or anything like that. Because right now, I'm really kind of seeking out games that I like and games that I think will be good games. So that's my mindset in terms of when I'm looking at games to put on the channel. But it doesn't need to be like that, right? Like we last year was our first year doing college football. This year being the one where we're really trying to stay consistent with it. So I'm all ears, guys. There's a reason why we're nearing 30,000 subscribers, and it's because you guys are all included and all have a say. So go ahead and drop what you think the format or any criticism should be in the comments. And I'll quit rambling. We can move on to the next game here, which is going to be looking at next game up. We have TCU taking on Houston. And this one, maybe I'm the dummy, okay? Bring it in. Maybe I'm the dummy here. But TCU is just way, way better than Houston. Houston, incredibly inconsistent to start the year. And I think if TCU doesn't catch that L against Colorado, we may be looking at a spread that is way bigger than 7.5 here. And obviously, TCU, a tough spot against Colorado. Like, everybody and their girlfriend's grandmother was rooting for Colorado in that game. Coach Prime, the storyline, everything like that, and TCU drops it. So they had a lot of pressure on them, but I don't see any sort of world in which this stays a touchdown game. Maybe I'm the dummy in the room, like I said, but again, I think that this line could be way, way bigger had that loss not been taken when we look at TCU playing Colorado. Wisconsin, Houston loses to Rice last week, right? 43-41. Okay, well, they had a powerhouse week, back and forth, blah, blah, blah. They scored 17 points against UTSA in week number 1. What consistency are you showing there? They grinded out a win there. Against UTSA, and then they go and play Rice and lose in a game that had a total finish at 84. Like, I just don't see the consistency for Houston. TCU obviously kind of getting back on track there, playing, Nicholls State, and, you know, they win 41-6. That's expected. They did their job, but they've still averaged 41 now and 42 points, so 41.5 points per contest this year. Give me TCU. I'll be honest, I think that they can cover this line easily, but it may be worth buying a point here, getting it down, alternate line to -6.5, just to be able to win by a touchdown and feel a little bit better. You may be paying 125, 130 in terms of odds, but that may be the case. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see what we end up rolling with. But yeah, to me, this is TCU Horned Frogs all day long. I really just do not look at this and say, okay, Houston's going to be able to compete. And again, maybe I'm the dummy. Maybe I'm missing the trap here. But I love TCU, but feel free to fade me, guys. And speaking of fade me, I do want to talk to you guys about the Fade Me store. I have the Fade Me Athletics tee on today, but if you guys do want to support what we're doing here and check it out, make sure to go to fademe.store. We have tons of new stuff live, tons of stuff on the way as well. So yeah, make sure to go check that out, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.